Hey guys, so 2 weeks without smoking after 30 years of 30 or 40 or 50 a day. Yeah, it's required some discipline, but it hasn't been as bad as I think I expected it to be, or I feared it might be. Just a couple of things that other people have brought up. One is the food issue. Somebody mentioned about metabolism. It is true, I believe, that when we smoke, it makes our metabolism go faster, which means that we're less likely to put on weight. So when we stop smoking, our metabolism slows down to a normal speed, which means that even if we just continue to eat the same amount of food, that it's possible that we'll put on some weight. Not the same for everybody, I believe. I think it depends on the person. For me, I have definitely eaten more. I've sort of indulged myself a little bit. Sort of, I don't know, as a distraction, I guess, from the nicotine thing, from the wanting to smoke thing, or the smoking habit thing, not wanting to smoke, the smoking habit. So partly as a distraction from that, and partly as a reward, I guess. The other thing is that my sense of taste, already, only 2 weeks, but my sense of taste has got much better, and my sense of smell has got much better. So I'm finding that, and my appetite's improved, because, I'm sure I used to kill my appetite with smoking. So now my appetite's improved, and my sense of smell and taste has improved. So I'm sort of going, that looks tasty, I might eat that, and now I might eat this, and now I might eat this. So yeah, I am eating more. For me, it doesn't really matter because I do exercise a lot anyway. I always do exercise a few hours a week anyway. And the last couple of weeks I've done even more of that because, well, partly because I'm eating more, but also because I'm enjoying it more, because I can breathe better, so I'm feeling better. So yeah, I guess it will depend on the person how you approach the whole food metabolism putting on weight thing. If you're a smoker and you stop smoking, how you're going to approach that food thing. I mean, it'll depend on the person and how you discipline yourself. Again, with this and with everything in life, it comes back to our own self-discipline. So I guess it'll come back to the individuals as to how they want to deal with that, whether they want to just eat more and exercise more, or whether they just want to eat more but keep it to low-calorie food. I mean, again, this is getting into another topic, I guess, which is, food and eating. Food, eating and exercise, I guess, if we're talking about general health. But in relation to tobacco, yeah, it's something, I guess, guys, if you're gonna stop smoking, it's something that you need to consider, I guess, and have a bit of a plan or a bit of a strategy in mind about how you're going to deal with that issue if you stop smoking, and how you're going to deal with the food and the rest of it. So that's one issue that was raised. Let's see, food, metabolism, exercise, covered that. There was a couple of other things. One guy said something about, actually it was a little bit scary, you know who you are. There's one guy that said a comment about he wants to stop smoking, but he's frightened if he does that he won't be able to deal with it and he'll kill somebody or beat someone up or something scary like that. Pretty freaky. I can actually understand the meaning though. I have actually I can be fairly highly strung myself on occasion, and with stress or with pressure or whatever. And I have had a few moments like that in the last couple of weeks where I felt a bit stressed out and really wanted a cigarette. But if you think about it, those of us that do smoke, that do tend to get a little bit stressed out like that, it doesn't fix it. So whatever your thing is, whether it's whatever your emotional, whatever the using the crutch for, whatever, if you're a smoker and you're using the cigarettes for something, whatever you're using it for, if you really think about it, it doesn't really help. It doesn't really help. So if you do get a bit aggressive sometimes and you think have a smoke and that'll help you relax, it doesn't really. I mean, we've talked about this in every one of these videos. Our normal person's relaxation level is here, and when you smoke, your relaxation level isn't any higher. It's just that when you're a smoker, when you don't smoke, your relaxation level drops. So when you have a cigarette, you feel like you're more relaxed. So if you're feeling a bit aggro and you're a smoker and you haven't had a cigarette for 20 minutes, and you're feeling a bit aggro, and then you have a cigarette, you think that you're feeling better because you've had that cigarette. But in actual fact, you haven't gone past the normal level. You know, you haven't really got any more mellow than a person who doesn't smoke. You've just come back to a not having withdrawals thing situation. So, and really, that's what I found. That's what I found the last couple of weeks, that, you know, it's natural that in our lives we have little stresses and pressures and things now and again. And occasionally when they've happened, I have wanted a cigarette. But it's just from the habit of wanting a cigarette during that time. It's not because it will really help me. It's not because it will help me relax. You know, if I am having some pressure because of work or money, or, you know, some thing is happening and, oh, what am I going to do about this? It's not going to help to have a cigarette. I'm not going to smoke that cigarette and go, ah, now I'm mellow. Now that's all solved. You know, it won't at all. It just, all it is that I haven't had a cigarette for 20 minutes, so when I have one, it'll give me the illusion of feeling better. But what I'm actually finding is, after 2 weeks of not smoking, the physical thing's really gone. It really has. You know, if the physical thing was still there, I'd be always thinking about having a cigarette. I don't. It's only the habitual times where occasionally I think of it. So it's purely habit, and that's becoming less and less as well. So the physical thing's gone, and I've got to tell you, I've actually had some amazing highs, like real highs, and I don't know why. I don't know if that's because I'm feeling healthier and my brain's got more oxygen in it, or because I'm feeling better about myself because I don't stink, and, you know, I'm being feeling more comfortable and more relaxed, or whether it's because I'm not having those lows. You know, I'm not having those lows. So if I don't have a cigarette for an hour, I'm not having a low. You know, when I was smoking heavily, if I had to go an hour or so without a cigarette, I felt edgy. You know, I didn't feel relaxed. If I had to go an hour, you know, if I was in a train or if I was somewhere where I couldn't smoke and I had to go an hour without a cigarette, I'd be feeling edgy. I'd be wanting a cigarette. Whereas now, after 2 weeks, I don't get that now. So, you know, when I found myself in non-smoking restaurants, which do exist in Japan, rare, but they exist. So I found myself in a non-smoking restaurant with my friends, or in a car with my wife, when I never smoke in a car with my wife. And previously I would have been looking for opportunities to stop the car and have a cigarette, but, you know, not an issue now. I can spend 2, 3, 4 hours. I was at a beautiful place yesterday where I couldn't smoke for a few hours. Wasn't an issue. So my general relaxation level across the board, you know, across the 24 hours of the day is better. I'm more relaxed all the time. Whereas when I was a smoker, I was relaxed for 1 hour a day when I was actually drawing on a cigarette. And when I wasn't actually drawing on a cigarette, I was a bit edgy. Wasn't really totally relaxed, you know. So, it's good, guys. It really is. You know, I don't want to be one of those people who preach, if you like your smoking and you enjoy doing it, keep doing it, you know. But I'm just saying this because there has been a couple of people who have said that they've taken some encouragement from this and have decided to stop too. So they're the people I'm talking to, and to anybody who's never smoked but who's thought about it. You know, just letting you know. You know. Actually, just one more little thing too. I've really been focusing, because I never really found, for me, that thinking about the future helped me stop smoking. Stop smoking or you'll get cancer. Never really worked on me. It's just too in the distant for me. It's too like, one day, if you smoke one day you might get cancer. If you smoke one day, you know, your teeth might fall out. If you smoke one day it might affect your eyesight. If you smoke one day it might, you know, all that in the future stuff from the dentists and the doctors and the eye doctor and everybody never really got me, to be honest, because I always felt like that was off in the distance somewhere in the future, you know, and it never really got me too much. So the reason I stopped was for now, is because I knew that it made me smell bad now, and it made my car smell bad now, and it made my apartment smell bad now, and because it made me not relaxed for 23 hours a day, and that I was a slave to it, and that as a person who considers himself to be very well disciplined, I always felt that that was my biggest weakness. you know, was the tobacco. Other things I'm disciplined about, you know, in my life, my exercise and my, you know, all the things that I have to do, I think I'm pretty well disciplined. But I always felt weak because of the tobacco thing. Every time I was sort of sneaking off from a group of people to have a cigarette, it was like, you know, and I always felt weak. I always felt weak because I didn't really want to do it, but I felt like I couldn't stop. You know, I was a slave to it, and it just made me feel really weak. So those were the reasons I stopped, was because, you know, it made me feel like I had no self-discipline, I was being weak. I recognised it was giving me no benefit, but a whole list of disadvantages. That was the first video we made, right? The pros and cons of smoking. So, you know, the reality is, lots of disadvantages, no advantages. So it was really for now. It was really about now that I stopped smoking. You know, it wasn't really about worrying about the future. But had an interesting conversation yesterday with a friend of mine, and because I am old, but let me tell you guys, you go from 15 to 20 to 25 to 30 to 35 to 40 to 45 really fast, like really fast. You know, I was wagging school and smoking joints with my friends. It feels like last week I was doing that. You know, and it's like boom, and it's 45 years old, you know, and I'm older than 45, but it's really freaking fast, guys. And I had a conversation with a friend of mine yesterday, and he told me that one of our other friends, now we're a group of young dudes, used to do all sorts of wild stuff together, you know, and this other guy, just like me, heavy smoker, just like I was, and recently he had a stint put in his heart, which basically means from smoking, his heart has got so full of crap from smoking that they've had to actually give him a heart operation and put a little pipe inside his heart to try and stop him from dying. You know? And my point is that even though I've stopped for now, I stopped because of now. I stopped because now it's doing me no good, and it was doing me no good at all, and it was only giving me disadvantages, and it sucks, basically. So I stopped now. But that conversation yesterday made me really grateful that I stopped, guys, because let me tell you, I always thought from when I started smoking at 16, I always used to think, you know, fuck it, you know, I'll smoke forever if I want to, I can stop whenever I want. You know, maybe if it's going to kill me later, well, I'll stop later. I'll stop when I'm 30, or I'll stop when I'm 35, or I'll stop later. I can smoke now. I can smoke now. You know, when I was young, I always thought, I can smoke now, I can smoke 100 a day if I want to. And all I'll do is I'll stop before I'm 30 or before I'm 40 or something, and then I'll be okay, and it won't kill me. That's what I used to think. But the problem is, if you're going to stop, when are you going to stop? And that's what happened to me. It was I always used to think, I'll stop later, you know, and all of a sudden it's 30 years later and I'm still smoking. So, you know, guys, if you want to smoke until you die, that's an individual choice. As far as I'm concerned, smoking is an individual person's choice. I mean, as for where they smoke and with other people who don't smoke, and, you know, in rooms where people smoke, that's another issue. But as far as people smoking, if you want to smoke in your own house or in the middle of a field somewhere or in your own car and you want to smoke 100 cigarettes a day, that's your right as far as I'm concerned. I don't think anyone should have a right to tell you not to do that. Certainly, it's your body, you're entitled to do it. But I think if we want to smoke 100 cigarettes a day until we die, that's our choice. And if we're going to do that, that's fine. If that's what we want to do, that's fine. We can go ahead and do that. If our thinking is that we're going to stop, if our thinking is at some stage in the future I'm going to stop, then it's more logical to stop now. Because, you know, we already talked about this. Every year we smoke, how much money are we spending? I mean, I was spending, you know, when I was in Australia, I was spending about $5-6 grand a year, $5,000 or $6,000 a year. Now in Japan it's a little bit cheaper because the tobacco is cheaper. I was spending maybe $2,000 or $3,000 a year. You know, that's a lot of money. So if we're going to stop some stage in the future, it sort of doesn't make any sense to continue it now. If we already know that it gives us no benefit and it only gives us disadvantage and it only costs us money and it makes us stink, I've got to tell you, that's been a big one. It's been really nice the last couple of weeks to be able to be close to people and know that I don't smell. You know, I was actually in a video shop during the week and looking at videos, and a guy walked past behind me and I could smell him. He stank. He must have just had a cigarette and he smelt of tobacco. And it's interesting because 2 weeks ago I wouldn't have noticed because I would have smelt the same. So it was really interesting. He's walked past and I'm like, whoa, you know, I can smell it. He's a smoker. And, you know, and it felt really good to know, that's his choice, that's cool, but it felt really good to know that I don't stink anymore. Well, I don't stink of tobacco. Maybe I probably smell of candy at the moment and chocolate, but you know, I feel confident now that I can be close to people and not be self-conscious about smelling, which is, you know, a good thing. So, anyway, guys, I sort of lost track there of where I was going with all this, but you can see see my main points. You know, it's really worth stopping, guys. It really is. You know, if you want to continue doing it, that's great. But let me tell you, stopping is good, and it gets easier and easier. You know, it requires self-discipline. I can't see any other way to stop without self-discipline. It definitely requires some self-discipline, but it's not that bad. It's just a couple of minutes now and again where we want a cigarette. You know, we have this feeling that we want a cigarette, and then just have to use the logic and say, no, I don't. You know, it won't make me feel any better. Okay, I'm feeling a bit grumpy. I want a cigarette. No, I don't. No, I don't. You know, it's not going to make me feel any better. You know, it's been 2 weeks for me now. If I have a cigarette now, it's not going to make me feel good. It's going to give me a head spin probably, and make me feel bad. So, you know, it gets easier and easier, guys. So, anyway, keep the comments coming. It's interesting to see how people are reacting to this stuff and what they're thinking about it. I mean, I know some people don't give a rat's, you know, but I know there's a couple of people. The only reason I made these is I thought there might be a couple of people who might get some benefit from it. And to those, there's been a couple that have actually stopped with me the last couple of weeks. And to those guys, stick at it, guys. You can do it. You know, you can do it. Just that couple of minutes a day or that few seconds now and again where you think you want one, just get through that few seconds. Just get through that couple of minutes and it passes and you forget it. You know, and that becomes less and less and less and less, and it gets easier and easier. So, anyway, stick with it.